dry cleaner comment was we always have to wear our white coats and you don't get to be very fashionable, and all you get to do is wear white all day long, so it gets stained very easily. So I always joke that I should marry a dry cleaner. But beyond that, you know, it is what it is. All professions, I think, have their pros and cons. You know, and as long as you're happy and family, good.
Thank you. Now, this time we're going to open up the audience. We're going to open up the floor for questions, if any of you have any questions.
I have a question. So,
We have a microphone.
kind of on the other... It's okay. It's all right.
This is Jordan, one of our young alums.
Yeah, thanks very much for the presentation. I was really interested and excited to hear all your stories. So, sort of on the other side of the road less traveled, have any of you ever had an opportunity to take the road more traveled, the one that made sense, the one that there wasn't a question about if you should have done it or not? And, can you talk a little bit about if you started down that road and then halfway down you turned around and jumped over to what you're doing now, or if you had that difficult decision of do I take that road, or do I make it difficult on myself for that, you know, potentially bigger reward on the end, and what were those choices like for you?
Sure, I think there's always risk associated with any decision, and I find that as an engineer now, we always have plans A, B, and C, and so on with what we do. And I think you associate the risk, and fortunately now, in this day and age, you know, with the internet, you guys can educate yourself very quickly on a lot of things. I can tell you, when I went to school, the internet was just start, you know, Bill Clinton just created it, or whoever created it. So it wasn't really prominent, you know, it wasn't there. So you relied on your parents for whatever your parents told you thought was gospel. Now you come to find out that, you know, Fells Naphtha soap may not be the best thing for your hair. If you guys know it's brown soap, if you guys don't know what it is, but, you know, grandma and mom used to say it. But again, there's being able to educate yourself and assess the risk that you're taking with the internet and your peers around you, I think is an invaluable tool. Assessing that risk and knowing the risk you're taking, you know, want to protect yourself, but also gives you the ability to take that, you know, whichever path you want to take.
What's happened to me, at least once, maybe twice, over the course of my career, and I started on a dirt road and ended up somehow finding myself on a paved road, and somehow I find myself on a superhighway. I was like, how did I get here, right? And I wanted to get back to that dirt road because it was far more interesting and scenic. So, you know, I think you just kind of have to kind of watch where you're going, and things will change over time. Where you start may not be where you end up, and where you know, between the point where you start and where you end up may be completely different. And you've got to decide once you get that superhighway that, geez, maybe this isn't the right place for me. Maybe I need to go find a different path. And I think that's where I ended up in my career at some point, which was, hey, I started in this dirt road on now superhighway. It's like, I don't like this. Let me get back to the dirt road and find a way to do that. And my grad degree was a way for me to get back, ironically, get back to the dirt road. Aside from
That's good.
When I've had a choice between something that's a little more unusual on the lowest here and something that's a known quantity, the way that I looked at it, now I'm not somebody who's had a path where I knew where I wanted to be eventually, and I was talking to somebody earlier here who said that he always knew what he wanted to do, and he follows the plan to get there. I've never had that sort of plan. When I really can't decide, I look at when I'm 75 and I'm looking back at my life, which choice will I be sorry if I didn't take it? And it's almost always the severe choice that I think I'd be sorry to have lost out on.
The only thing I can add is in medicine, unfortunately, you don't really have a road to choose. I mean, yeah, you can choose you want to be a cardiologist, or you want to be a pulmonologist, or you want to be a surgeon, but you know, once you decide you're pre-med, your coursework is chosen for you, your medical school curriculum, everyone takes the same classes, there's no differences. Residency, everyone does the same rotation. Everyone has the same salary. You know, to get a certain salary increase, it's very small as a resident and fellow. Certainly not what people think physicians make. And you really don't have a lot of choices, which is kind of unfortunate. So for me, you know, I actually sort of envy all of you. I was talking to a lot of you guys, you know, during the reception, and there's a lot of exciting things that you get to do, choose, think about, which I imagine would be incredibly scary, but also really exciting. So in a career where in medicine your path is chosen for you, and then you can, you know, branch off a little bit here and there. And we all pretty much do the same thing, and in the beginning we all make the same amount, and there's not negotiation. You know, I've never negotiated anything as far as my career goes, but I think that you know, having a crooked road and having choices is really exciting, and something that I'm sure is scary, but also really kind of enviable for what that's worth.
Great, thank you.
We have time for another question. If there are any other questions? Take advantage of this wealth of knowledge up here.
Hi. You've spoken to this a little bit, but with regard to having a plan or not having a plan, or GPS, or just winging it, what do you say to somebody who is pretty established, but just bored and looking for the next thing? How do you make the decision to look for a path, or to even outline a path?
So my thought on that would be, it's a really good question, because you look at it like, well, I'm kind of here, I know what I'm doing and so forth, but maybe there's something out there. You don't have to make a big decision out of the gate, right? It could be a series of small decisions all over the way to get you there. And it could be by networking, it could be by just education, going to TED Talks. I went to TEDx Mid-Atlantic a few years ago. It was like one of the most incredible experiences of my life. It's like just incredible. It's like eye-opening. Just go to certain things that can get exposure and begin to break out of your mold a little bit. And I think that is getting out of what you're doing and going to other things, and let it find you to a degree. So you're not. It's not always going to be prescriptive. You're not always going to be able to figure it out. I think it will come to you somewhat serendipitously sometimes, and just get out there. I think that would be my main advice, and you'll figure it out. And kind of, so that's kind of the external factors coming in. I think the other side of it would be a self-assessment. Know what you're good at, right? Take a real honest look at what you've done, what you're good at, honestly. And like, I know I'm not good at anything specifically, but I'm kind of a little bit good at a lot of things. So that's how I work, right? So I know I can do a lot of a lot of things kind of okay, but I don't do any one thing really well. So that's fine. Good. That's what I am, and I kind of fit that mold. So kind of that self-assessment becomes really important, and then ultimately kind of matching this two up. And it takes some time. It won't happen overnight, but that'd be my advice.
I don't think you teach it. I mean, it's something or something. I don't know if there's a magic word or a magic, formula, but it's, it's. I know personally, it was I don't want to be stagnant. So that was the choice to get my MBA. And fortunately, I have family now. I shouldn't say that. Unfortunately, but no, that's my priority. So I mean, I have my education now, but now my priority is how can I make my family be what my wife and I think the best family can be. We don't know what that is. We both joke that we've both been parents for the same amount of time. So when she asked me, what do I think? Like, you've got just as much experience as I did. So, and I'm like, I don't know. And the same thing back and forth. So we work it out and do it. But that's what's in front of me right now is to make sure that we have, two boys that grow up as mature young men, and that's one of my jobs right now. So I mean, Chuck's a little bit further along, and you were just started like I am. So I mean, and again, it's amazing how much your life changes with that. So I think every opportunity that you have in front of you, that you're going to choose not to be stagnant, because every kid's not stagnant.
So have kids.
No, I tell you, it's a different lifestyle. They're beautiful people, and I love them to death when it changes. It changes your world. So if you like going out to dinner and being single, just know that that's not.
All right, well, I want to thank all of our panelists for your time and for sharing your experiences and advice. And thank you to our guests for your excellent questions. Please feel free to continue to network and get to know one another for the remainder of the evening. At this time, I'll turn it back over to Mitch and Jessica.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, our panelists. It was an excellent perspective, very thoughtful discussion. You raised some great points. We really appreciate you being here. We learned a lot today, I think, about value, about investment, about how important it is to invest in yourself, right, in graduate education, in your network, and in cash. So I think tomorrow I'm going to try my hand at printing my own money. I think that might be the best route for me. But thank you all, and we've put together a small token of our appreciation.
It's not cash, is it?
It's Drexel dollars, does that
Drexel
count?
Thanks very much. We can better in cash than wine. Thank you, Jessica.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I hope you'll join us out in the atrium for some more networking and ask the panelists more questions. Thank you all for coming.